Hey Capricorn, I need to talk to you about something that came up in today's reading, and honestly, it's been weighing on my mind since I pulled these cards. I shuffled the deck specifically asking about any negative energies or ill intentions directed toward you, and what came through was so specific and clear that I knew I had to share this with you immediately. Before we dive in, I want you to know this reading is about awareness and protection, not about creating fear. The cards are here to illuminate what's been happening in the shadows, so you can take your power back and move forward with clarity. Let's see what the universe wants you to know about the energies surrounding you right now. The first card that came out is the Two of Cups, and I have to say, this threw me off at first, because we're talking about curses and negative energy, right? But here's what's fascinating about this card showing up in this position. The Two of Cups traditionally represents partnership, mutual respect, and balanced relationships. But when we're looking at it through the lens of someone potentially working against you, this card is revealing something crucial about the nature of the situation. This isn't coming from a random stranger or someone you barely know. This is coming from someone you once had a genuine connection with, someone you trusted, someone who was close enough to understand your vulnerabilities. The energy here suggests that there was a time when this relationship felt equal and supportive, which makes the current situation even more painful. What I'm seeing is that this person had access to your inner world. They knew your dreams, your fears, your aspirations, and now they're using that intimate knowledge in ways that don't serve your highest good. The cards are showing me that this might be an ex-partner, a former close friend, or even a business partner where things ended, but not all feelings were resolved. There's an element of betrayal here because the connection was real at some point, which means the hurt cuts deeper. For you Capricorns who are naturally cautious about who you let into your inner circle, this revelation might be particularly difficult because you don't open up easily, and when you do, you expect that trust to be honored. The Two of Cups in this context is asking you to recognize that not everyone who enters your life with love will exit with the same intention, and that's not a reflection of your judgment, but rather a reality of human nature and ego wounds. Moving into the Queen of Wands, and this card is absolutely singing about the identity of who might be directing negative energy your way. The Queen of Wands is confident, charismatic, ambitious, and used to being in the spotlight. When I see this card come up in a reading about potential ill intentions, it tells me we're dealing with someone who has a powerful personality, someone who's used to getting what they want, and someone who doesn't handle rejection or being overshadowed very well. This could be a woman in your life, or it could be someone embodying these fierce Queen of Wands qualities regardless of gender. What's really interesting here is that this person sees you as competition, Capricorn. You might not even realize you're in a competition with them, but in their mind, there's a constant comparison happening. The Queen of Wands is creative and passionate, but the shadow side of this card reveals jealousy, manipulation, and a tendency to use their charm and influence to undermine others when they feel threatened. I'm getting the sense that this person watches your success closely, comments on your achievements with a smile that doesn't quite reach their eyes, and might even offer help or advice that subtly steers you in the wrong direction. They present themselves as supportive, but there's an underlying current of wanting to see you stumble. This is someone in your professional circle, creative community, or social sphere who has built an image of confidence and success, but internally, they're struggling with their own insecurities, and they've projected those onto you. The reason you're on their radar so intensely is because you possess something they want, whether that's recognition, a position, a relationship, or simply the authentic confidence that can't be faked. For Capricorns, who work hard and achieve through dedication rather than theatrics, you might be a particularly triggering presence for someone with wounded Queen of Wands energy, because your success feels effortless to them even though you've put in tremendous work behind the scenes. Now we have the Two of Wands appearing, and this is where the reading gets really specific about timing and intention. The Two of Wands is about planning, looking ahead, making strategic decisions about future directions. When this card shows up in the context of negative energy directed at you, It reveals that what you're experiencing isn't random or spontaneous, it's calculated. Someone has been planning their moves, watching your patterns, and strategically positioning themselves or their energy in opposition to your path forward. The Two of Wands shows someone standing at a crossroads, holding the world in their hands, contemplating which direction will bring them the power or recognition they crave. In your situation, Capricorn, this suggests that this person has been studying your trajectory, possibly even trying to predict your next moves so they can either block them or claim credit for similar ideas. There's a very deliberate quality to what's happening, and it's not just about random negative thoughts sent your way, it's about active interference with your plans and projects. I'm seeing scenarios where you might share an idea in confidence or in a group setting, and suddenly this person is implementing something remarkably similar, but positioning it as their own original concept. Or perhaps they're subtly planting seeds of doubt in spaces where your reputation matters, not through obvious attacks, but through careful questions and implications that make others second-guess you. The Two of Wands is also about dominion and control. And what's coming through is that this person wants to control the narrative around you. They want to be the one who defines your image or limits your expansion. For Capricorn, who values integrity and straightforward dealings, this kind of behind-the-scenes maneuvering is probably particularly frustrating because it's not something you can confront directly without seeming paranoid or dramatic, which is exactly what makes this strategy effective for the person using it. The Four of Wands comes through next. And this card usually represents celebration, homecoming, stability, and joyful gatherings. So what's it doing in a reading about curses and negative energy? Here's what the cards are revealing to me. The Four of Wands in this context is showing me that the negativity you're experiencing is somehow connected to your happiness, your achievements, your stable foundations, or your celebrations. This person's ill will intensifies specifically when you're doing well, when you're celebrating milestones, when you're establishing security and harmony in your life. It's like your joy is a trigger for their shadow to activate. I'm seeing that you might notice weird energy shifts or unusual obstacles that pop up right after you've shared good news or achieved something significant. Maybe you announce a promotion and suddenly there are complications that weren't there before, or you celebrate a personal victory and shortly after, you're dealing with unexpected problems that seem to come out of nowhere. The Four of Wands is also about building and establishing, and what I'm picking up is that someone is threatened by the solid foundations you're creating in your life because it highlights the instability in their own. When you're building something real and lasting, whether that's a relationship, a business, a home, or a reputation, and you're doing it with authenticity and hard work like Capricorns do, it can be intimidating to someone who's been taking shortcuts or relying on superficial measures of success. This card is also associated with community and being welcomed, and there might be social dynamics at play where you're gaining acceptance, respect, or inclusion in spaces that this person either wants access to or wants to gatekeep. The message here is that you don't need to dim your light or hide your accomplishments to protect yourself from others' envy. But you do need to be more discerning about what you share, with whom, and in what contexts, especially during vulnerable windows, right after major positive shifts in your life. Let's talk about the Six of Cups, because this card is bringing in a whole different dimension to this reading. The Six of Cups deals with the past, nostalgia, childhood connections, old friends, and unresolved history. When this card appears in a reading about negative energy targeting you, it's revealing that what you're experiencing has roots in the past, possibly the distant past. This could manifest in several ways, Capricorn. It might be that the person directing negative energy your way is someone from your past, maybe a childhood friend, an old classmate, someone you grew up with, or someone from an earlier chapter of your life who you thought was no longer relevant. There's often this assumption that when we move forward and people aren't in our daily lives anymore, they've moved on too. But the Six of Cups is showing that this person has held on to something, whether it's an old grudge, an unresolved jealousy, a perceived slight, or a comparison that never left their mind. I'm also seeing the possibility that this isn't necessarily someone actively in your present life, but someone who observes from a distance, maybe through social media or through mutual connections, and they're still carrying energy from old dynamics that were never fully addressed or healed. The Six of Cups can also indicate that the nature of the negative energy has a childish quality to it, meaning it's coming from wounded inner child places rather than mature adult consciousness. So the actions or intentions might seem petty, indirect, or motivated by feelings that don't match the current reality. For you as a Capricorn, this is significant because you're someone who typically moves forward decisively and doesn't dwell in the past. So it might not even occur to you that someone is still energetically attached to old stories or old versions of who you were. The card is suggesting that part of your protection work needs to involve cutting cords with past identities, past relationships, and past versions of yourself that others might still be relating to even though you've evolved beyond that. The Knight of Wands charges in next, and this card brings intense, fast-moving, impulsive energy into the reading. When we see the Knight of Wands in the context of negative intentions, we're looking at someone who acts quickly, doesn't think through consequences, and operates from a place of passion that can tip into aggression. This could be describing the person who's directing negative energy your way, or it could be describing the nature of how that energy manifests in your life. If it's about the person, we're talking about someone who's bold, adventurous, possibly reckless, and who makes moves based on impulse and emotion rather than careful planning. This is different from the strategic Two of Wands energy we saw earlier. This is reactive rather than calculated. The Knight of Wands person might send negative energy your way in bursts, whenever they're feeling triggered or emotional, rather than as a sustained campaign. They might not even be fully conscious of what they're doing, because they're so caught up in their own feelings and reactions. I'm also getting that this energy or this person is hard to pin down. They move quickly, change direction often, and don't stay in one place long enough for you to fully understand their motives or confront them directly. If the Knight of Wands is describing how the negative energy manifests, then you might be experiencing sudden disruptions, quick-moving problems that seem to come out of nowhere, impulsive actions from others that affect you, or a general sense of instability and unpredictability in certain areas of your life. The Knight of Wands can also represent messages, communications, and information moving rapidly. So there could be gossip, rumors, or information about you being spread quickly through networks without you being aware of it initially. For Capricorn, who prefers stability, planning, and slow, steady progress, this kind of chaotic, fast-moving energy is particularly disruptive because it doesn't fit your natural rhythm, and it's hard to defend against something that keeps changing direction. The message here is about protection through grounding, because the Knight of Wands energy can't sustain itself. If you're not feeding it with reaction or engagement, it burns itself out when it doesn't get the response it's seeking. The Seven of Swords slides into the reading, and honestly, Capricorn, this is one of the cards that made me know I needed to share this reading with you immediately. The Seven of Swords is the card of deception, theft, strategy, sneaking around, hidden agendas, and things happening behind your back. This card doesn't show up casually, and when it appears in a reading about negative energy or potential curses, it's a clear warning that you're dealing with someone who's being deliberately deceptive. The figure in the Seven of Swords is typically shown sneaking away with swords, taking what doesn't belong to them, operating in shadows, and looking over their shoulder to make sure they're not caught. This is someone in your sphere who's wearing a mask, who shows you one face while doing something completely different behind the scenes. They might smile to your face, agree with you in conversations, even offer support publicly, but privately they're working against your interests. The Seven of Swords reveals theft on multiple levels. And I'm not just talking about physical theft, although that's possible, but more often it's about stealing credit, stealing ideas, stealing opportunities, stealing energy, or stealing peace of mind. This person might be taking information you share in confidence and using it against you, or sharing it with others in ways that damage your reputation or opportunities. They might be positioning themselves to take opportunities that were meant for you by staying close enough to know what you're going after and then making their moves first. The strategic element of this card shows someone who's intelligent and clever in their deception. They're not making obvious mistakes that would expose them. They're careful and calculated about covering their tracks. For Capricorn, this is particularly challenging because you value honesty and direct communication, and you tend to take people at their word until they give you clear reason not to. The Seven of Swords is that clear reason, and it's asking you to pay closer attention to inconsistencies between what people say and what they do, to trust your instincts when something feels off even if you can't prove it yet, and to be more protective of your information, your plans, and your energy, especially around people who seem overly interested in your business or who show up conveniently at moments when you're about to make important moves. Now we see the Ten of Pentacles, and this card is fascinating in this context because it represents legacy, wealth, family, long-term security, inheritance, and established material success. When the Ten of Pentacles shows up in a reading about negative energy directed at you, it's revealing what's at the core of why someone would want to direct ill intentions your way. And Capricorn, it comes down to what you have or what you're building in terms of lasting security and success. The Ten of Pentacles isn't about flashy short-term gains. It's about real wealth, real stability, real foundations that will stand the test of time and potentially be passed down. You're either in the process of building this, or you're already embodying this energy in ways that are visible to others, and that visibility has triggered envy in someone who wants what you have, but either isn't willing to do the work or doesn't believe they can achieve it themselves. This card can also relate to family wealth or family dynamics, so there's a possibility that the negative energy is coming from within your family system or from someone who feels they should have access to family resources, recognition, or legacy that you're receiving instead. The Ten of Pentacles shows an older person passing wisdom or wealth to younger generations, and if you're in a position where you're inheriting anything, whether that's actual money and property or whether it's inheriting respect, position, or opportunities from mentors or family members, someone might feel that's unfair or that they're more deserving. I'm also seeing that this card is highlighting jealousy around your ability to create lasting security for yourself and potentially for your family, your ability to think long-term and make decisions that benefit your future self, and your natural Capricorn gift for building empire energy even if you're starting from humble beginnings. Some people are intimidated by those who think generationally and work patiently toward massive goals because it highlights their own short-term thinking and lack of discipline. The message here is that you're on the right path. Your focus on building something real and lasting is exactly what you should be doing, and the negative energy coming your way is actually confirmation that you're succeeding in ways that matter. Don't let others' envy make you second-guess your worth or your right to build the life and legacy you're creating. The Five of Cups appears, and this card brings the energy of grief, loss, disappointment, and focusing on what went wrong rather than what's still available. In the context of someone directing negative energy toward you, the Five of Cups is revealing something important about their psychological state and motivation. This person is stuck in a place of loss. They're consumed by what they don't have, what didn't work out for them, what they feel they missed out on. And instead of processing that grief and moving forward, they've turned it into bitterness and resentment that's now being projected onto you. The figure in the Five of Cups is typically shown looking at 3 spilled cups while 2 full cups stand behind them, unnoticed, which is such a powerful image of someone so focused on disappointment that they can't see the blessings and opportunities still available to them. This might be someone who's experienced genuine setbacks or losses, maybe in the same areas where you're experiencing success, and they've made your achievements mean something about their failures. Instead of seeing your success as proof that success is possible and being inspired by it, they see it as proof that life is unfair and they're being denied what should be theirs. The Five of Cups can also indicate that this person is emotionally manipulative, playing the victim, and using their sadness or struggles to justify their negative actions toward you. They might not see themselves as someone who's doing anything wrong, because in their mind, they're the one who's been wronged, and anything they do is just leveling the playing field or getting what they deserve. For you, Capricorn, understanding this helps you not take their actions personally because this isn't really about you. It's about their unprocessed pain and their inability to take responsibility for their own life and choices. You can have compassion for their situation without allowing them to drain your energy or interfere with your path. The Five of Cups is also a reminder for you to stay focused on what you're building and what you're grateful for, rather than getting caught up in the drama or negativity someone else is trying to create around you. Your continued success and happiness are the best response to any negative energy directed your way. The final card in this reading is the Three of Cups, and at first glance, this might seem like a strange card to end on when we're talking about curses and negative energy. But let me share what's coming through. The Three of Cups is about friendship, celebration, community, collaboration, and joyful connections between people. In this reading, this card is serving two purposes. First, it's showing that the negative energy you're dealing with might be coming from or affecting your social circles, your friendships, or group dynamics you're part of. There might be someone within your friend group or community who's not as happy for your success as they pretend to be, or there might be toxic energy within a group you're involved with that's creating drama or division. The Three of Cups can reveal that what looks like friendship or support on the surface is actually masking jealousy or competition underneath. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with certain people or groups. If you're consistently feeling drained, anxious, or questioning yourself after interactions that should be uplifting, that's valuable information. The second purpose this card is serving is much more positive, and it's actually the primary message the universe wants you to take from this entire reading. The Three of Cups is appearing to remind you that the best protection against negative energy, the most powerful way to counteract any curses or ill intentions directed your way, is to surround yourself with genuine community, to celebrate your wins with people who truly love you, and to invest in relationships that are based on mutual support and authentic joy for each other's successes. The Three of Cups is about celebration as a spiritual practice, about joy as resistance against darkness, about authentic connection as a shield against manipulation and deception. For you, Capricorn, who sometimes isolates yourself in work or feels you need to handle everything alone, this card is an invitation to let your guard down with the right people, to share your victories, to ask for support, and to remember that you don't have to fight every battle solo. The people who genuinely love you and want the best for you are powerful allies, and their positive energy and intentions toward you are far stronger than any negative energy someone else might be directing your way. This is about quality over quantity in your relationships. Having 3 people who truly have your back is worth more than 30 surface-level connections. The Three of Cups is also telling you to celebrate yourself and your achievements, even when, especially when, others are trying to diminish them. Throw yourself that party, share that win, honor how far you've come, and do it unapologetically because your joy and your success are not responsible for someone else's unhappiness. So Capricorn, let's bring all of this together. What the cards have revealed today is that yes, there is some negative energy directed your way, and it's coming from someone who had or has a connection to you, someone who presents themselves confidently but is dealing with deep insecurity and jealousy, someone who's being strategic and deceptive about their intentions, and someone who's particularly triggered by your success, stability, and ability to build lasting foundations. This might be one person embodying all these qualities, or it might be multiple people at different times or in different areas of your life. The important thing is that you're now aware, and awareness is power. You don't need to confront anyone directly or create drama around this, but you do need to be more discerning about who you trust with your energy, your information, and your vulnerability. Protect yourself by being strategic about what you share and with whom, by paying attention to patterns and inconsistencies in people's behavior, by grounding yourself regularly so you're not easily destabilized by chaotic energy, and most importantly, by surrounding yourself with genuine love and support that outweighs any negativity. The cards are also showing that your success and your path forward are not in danger. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, And the negative energy coming your way is actually a sign that you're on the right track and making an impact. Keep building, keep celebrating, keep being authentically you, and trust that the universe has your back even when individuals don't. Anyone resonating with this reading, I would love to hear from you in the comments about what came up for you, or if any of this confirmed things you were already sensing. Sending you so much protective energy and light for your journey forward.